Okay, let's take a look at this. That's looking good. You might experience. Oh, I think you're all right there. That's good. Um, Let me just isolate this one. That looks pretty simple and straightforward. I think I would typically separate the front and back of this like along here. Oh, that's interesting. That doesn't. Let me just turn on symmetry and then Shift X here. So where did my? Anyways, and then unfold again, and then layout. But it doesn't make much difference. I suppose you could do it either way. It just made it less of a big awkward piece. Um, and I guess if you cut here, then you probably don't need to cut here. But actually, I mean, I don't know if it's honestly. It's just it ends up being about the same as what you had in the end. So it's probably fine the way you had it. It's more like how I've usually done it. Um, well, because I'm basically following the seams of what a real shirt would be like. I know this is not a regular shirt, but yeah, typically the seams would be along the side, and here, it's like two main pieces that then get sewn together. But as far as painting a texture, I think what you had was fine. Honestly, it's really not that much different. What else? This is pretty straightforward. Yeah, I think that's fine. Um, okay, that's just that thing, and then that thing, and that is that ridge there. Okay. Let me turn off symmetry for a minute. Just gonna turn off checkers. Oh, that's the inside, which doesn't really matter because we'll probably never see it. I'm just wondering if we need quite so many of these little pieces. I mean, I wonder if that couldn't just be part of the rest of this shell. Like, couldn't we take these edges and then move and sew, and then take these edges and move and sew, and then let's just unfold again. There's still a lot of little, like all these little bits. That one's an awfully narrow, skinny little thing. I would make that at least part of, like, no, I just want this, like those. And then, yeah, I just think you don't need quite so many little thin little strips. I think that's going to make it annoying to. So I would try combining a few of these things on the head. That seems pretty straightforward. I might have done this. I mean, it's fine. I guess what I would have probably done is just one around the middle or around the top or something, and then, like, I would have left that intact probably, and that one. but then cut. Oh, what's this one? And then just cut around at one point, like here, for example. Just using Shift X, and then unfold that. Really simple shape, actually. A lot easier to paint, and should look pretty good, as far as, being evenly laid out. So that's just one piece. So I think something like that would be better. Yeah, that seems pretty logical. Face looks like you might have slightly overlapped into another. Yeah, like right here. If you see that, you've overlapped into the next quadrant. So, but that easily can be just scooted in a little bit, just to make sure it doesn't go over that line. I think the checkers look good. I think again you have a tendency to make more cuts than are necessary. Um, for example, I think you could do without this one. Well, not all the way around, but around the back. I'm gonna turn off checker. Like that one. Moving so. I think this one. Can I do G? Yeah, G is previously done function. I would keep one going around the neck, but I would probably see if we can maybe move in. So this one, oops, that. But see, I would actually split this somewhere like here. Shift X, cut. But then I would probably, oh, you have a cut in the back there, so I'd probably lose this and that. And this is cut here. But yeah, I don't think you need this cut into 4 different sections. It's probably fine if it's just cut in one place. So I have way less cuts now. Let's unfold and see how that looks. It doesn't really look like that's unfolding, right? I'm surprised. I guess it just has to do with the shape of the thing. Okay. And when I look at those checkers, it looks pretty good to me. And there's way less cuts. And yeah, we got a couple pretty red spots. But again, that's what I was saying to you the other day. I don't know why this one piece seems so out of proportion to the rest. But when I look at the checkers, I'm like, well, the checkers don't look distorted, so it'll probably come out fine. I think that you're getting, some red here has to do with the distance between these edges, that because this distance is so different from that distance. And so if you added a couple loops here, I could show you like that and that. A lot of that red's going to go away. So yeah, I would say less cuts if you can. You will thank yourself for having done that once you get into the next stage of texturing. Yeah, and again here, it's just a sphere. It should be a much simpler. Well, I guess it's not just a sphere, but still, I don't know. I would see if you can remove some cuts and not have all those little strips. I guess if anything we don't see doesn't really matter that much anyway. This was fairly complicated, as we discussed earlier, because of the belt and all that stuff being kind of built into it. But yeah, I think considering this is fine. Yeah, so anyways, I think a few areas to have less cuts, but you could texture it the way you had it. It's just, more work because more seams to deal with. So if you can reduce the number of seams, you'll be glad you did.